The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business. From $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Ardor SEO.
Welcome to the Icons of Real Estate. I'm Tim Calloway. We have a very special guest for you today from all the way up on the East Coast in Shirley, New York, Jeffrey Jimenez with eXp Realty. Jeffrey, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Tim?
I'm fantastic. As I said, I'm just living the dream, man.
Hey.
I'm here talking to you. How bad could it be?
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
I gotta ask you, man. I ask this of everybody that I have on the program. Were you like a 5-year-old kid tugging at your dad's pant leg going, "Hey dad, I want to be a realtor. How do I do this?" Or were you like most people, you just kind of fell into it?
I was like most people, kind of just was, I wouldn't say, I guess I fell into it more like my wife pushed me into it.
Nice.
more so than anything.
Oh man, you're going to stay married forever. That's fantastic.
Pretty much.
So tell me the story. I mean, were you doing something before? And
so back in my heyday, from the time I was like 16 to 21-ish, I ran my uncle's bagel shop, local here in town. Got my first sense of business. I was pretty much the sole runner and operator of the store. He came in and held up our mixer for 3 days a week, and walked away with his briefcase full of cash. Right. So I got my first introduction into like how businesses work, cash flow management, all that great stuff. And started out there, and then we sold it. So here I was, 21 years old, didn't go to high school, graduated high school, but didn't go to college and do anything. So I needed a job. I needed something to do. Right. So I ended up going to HVAC school, learning how to do heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, and found out it was very hard to break into that field, even with experience, because everybody laughed because I was making great money at a bagel store. And then when I went to go on these interviews and they told me what my hourly salary was, I was like, "Are you crazy?" Like, what? That's it? Where's the other zeros?
Exactly.
But so I was a little, unimpressed with that. So I stayed in bagels for a little bit longer. And then I ended up landing a job on the East End out in the Hamptons, working on like mansions and all their heating and stuff. And, rapidly grew from a C mechanic all the way to an A mechanic. And then about, I'd say year 6 or 7 into that process, I was diagnosed with degenerative disc disease in my cervical spine and resulted in my first fusion. About a year after that, shortly after that, number 2 hits. And that became a problem. The surgeon looked at me and said, "Hey, Jeff, you keep doing what you're doing for a living, you're not going to be able to move. You're going to be pretty much paralyzed. Highly recommend you go out on disability, and just take it easy, find, maybe an office gig or something like that." Yeah. So anybody that knows me is like, I am not an office guy. I am a hands-on, get dirty, whatever it takes kind of guy. And it's what I enjoyed. That was my life. My wife had took in her real estate license, like 6 years ago, passed, never really activated or anything like that. Personally, me, I was like, "Are you kidding me? You're going to go and get this job, you're going to leave what you got. You're a manager for a bank." I'm like, "You're going to leave that bank to go and hope you're going to make money in real estate." And she was like, "Yeah, that's what I want to do." And I was like, "Well, I don't think that's a good idea. It's not a good thing." I was, I think as kids, we're taught, the average person is taught, go to school, go to college, get a good job, get a pension, get health benefits, and retire and live a happy life, right? So that was kind of how I was brought up. My father was, a transit guy. Mom was a school teacher, no real business background whatsoever in the family. So, I said, maybe I fast forward to now after my second fusion, my first fusion, sorry, it was actually my first fusion that this all came about. I said, well, let me go and take maybe I'll go and, do this course. Right. So I had signed up for the course, and then my wife called me up one day. I was on the way home from work. And she's like, "We need to go and meet these people." I'm like, who are we going to meet? I just want to go home, cut the grass, drink a beer and relax. It's Friday. I don't want to do this. Right. She's like, "No, we're going." So we went to this like God, and I tell you, it was the most creepiest place in the world in Middle Island. And we actually, it was actually one of the best meetings of my life. I met my long-term friend who was originally my broker. He was an investor, and he, you know, did a lot of contract and D back then. It was kind of like where I wanted to go. I had some money I wanted to invest and get into that thing. I just didn't know how. So I met with him and Rob and Christine, and they kind of both like, you got a knack for this, man. You'll be an awesome real estate agent. You should definitely go forward.
Right.
So I went and I got my real estate license, you know, did it at night, got my thing, took like a month or so and got my license. And, you know, I hit the ground running. I kind of just took off. I didn't know, like my sister was an appraiser at one point in time, and she says, Jeff, you have the natural talent to sell. You should be a real estate agent. Well, little did I know, I got into it. And then my first year in business as a part-time agent, I was working between 8 and 12-hour days in HVAC land, doing overtime. And then I was coming home at night and I was selling houses. And my first year in, I had sold like 37 houses as a part-time real estate agent, just hustling, just nonstop.
That's not bad.
And I was
Not
like,
bad at all.
majority buyer side, you know, I did click the easy button, paid for Zillow, and, you know, got the phone to ring, right? And then, you know, all of a sudden, you know, I'm, you know, going on year 2 and second fusion happens. And I'm like, crap, my doctor's like, I told you, quit your job. You know, it's just going to keep happening. So I sat there and you know, it was hard for me to let go of that security, right? That security of the job. So I decided that I had gotten tired of it because of my, my issues. They pulled me off of the install crew because I couldn't lift the boilers anymore. I couldn't lift the water heaters. And I was just pretty much a cleaning tech, right? Suck and soot out of boilers and furnaces and answering service calls. And I hated it. I was miserable, right? I would do all my work, be done by 12 and sitting on the side of the road working on real estate in my van. So I said to my wife, I called her up. I said, hey, sweetheart, I said, you know, the real estate, I had 3 phones, right? At one point in time, I had my work, my HVAC phone, my personal phone, and a real estate phone. I said, my real estate phone is ringing a lot more than any other phone right now.
Right.
I said, now I'm year 2, or maybe like 4 months into the year. I got another 27 deals in contract. I got, you know, a pipeline that's robust. I sat there, I said to her, I said, you know what? I said, I think I'm going to put in my notice. So I went, I put in my notice, and they convinced me to work 2 days a week. They didn't want me to go. They was just work 2 days a week. So I was like, all right, I'll work 2 days a week. Well, in that 2-week span of time, I was doing, my roof was getting done. And I decided to go out and just clean the hedges. And guess what? Fusion 3 happens. Yeah. Fusion 3 happens, right? So I call up my boss. I'm in the hospital, literally laid out, ambulance ride to the hospital, but all works, you know, like 2 weeks later, I need surgery. So I called my boss and I said, look, I'm done. I'm not coming back. Come pick up the van, come pick up everything. You can have the tools that are in it. I'm never coming back to HVAC. I'm all in real estate. I'm sorry, but you know, my health is more important.
Sure.
So that was the last day I ever worked in HVAC land.
You'll never forget that day.
Oh no, I'll never forget that day. It was actually the best day of my life, to be honest with you. It was finally, like, as scary as it was, the feeling of 1, accomplishment, 2, the feeling of, you know, now I'm the creator of my own success, right? I determine what I make. I determine what hours I want to work, and I set my own life, you know, to that point, right? So now we have a problem where I am super busy, nonstop. I'm selling houses left and right. And I'm like, you know, I need some direction. What's the next step? So I hired a coach. We use Workman Success Systems. And I met my first coach, Mike Harmon. What a great coach this guy was. He was a Remax broker down in Atlanta, Georgia. Right. Phenomenal guy. And he just sat there. He said, Jeff, well, what do you want? You know, he was coaching. People, I think, undervalue coaching, right? You're pretty much paying somebody to, you know, in most instances, to kick you in your ass every day, right?
It's accountability, right, Jeffrey? I mean, it's accountability on a day-to-day basis. Did you do this? Did you do what I did?
Exactly, right? So what he did is he looked at, you know, through quite a bit of conversations. And it was interesting because I was only scheduled for 2 45-minute sessions a month, right? But Mike and I hit it off so well that, you know, we just exchanged cell phone numbers and we talked pretty much for the first like 3 weeks every day. And literally he was really good teacher, because my father taught me in a way that, like, he never really gave me the answer. He always was like, well, what do you think? What did you do? Like, you know, when you're in trouble, well, why are you grounded?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't come home on time. well, no, that's why you're grounded, but why you're grounded, you know, that kind of stuff, right? So very intellectual kind of like, was the real underlying meaning of it. So he was very good. He picked up on that sense, and that's how he taught me. And he said, well, where do you want to be in the next 5 years? You know, we did that whole thing. And it came out to that, hey, look, I kind of want a team. I really enjoy coaching, mentoring, teaching, and showing people what I've learned and giving back, right? That give back. Now, when I started out in real estate, naturally, people around me had saw what I was doing. They wanted to be a part of it, and they came in. And I was just giving them leads free of charge. I was at Exit at the time. And I was just giving them leads. I was making the 10%. Great. Hoorah. You know, all right. And he said, well, why are you giving away the house? And I said, what do you mean? I'm doing the right thing. No, you're not. That's income for you. Are you crazy? Like, you know,
Right.
you know, so we worked out a model, and I presented it to the people that I was working with. And I said, if you want, I'm going to form the team, the Jimenez team. And he was like, you know, everybody was like, Jeff, we're with you, you know, so it all joined up, and it took off. I mean, then we have the trials and tribulations of running a team.
Sure.
And the systems and the lead gen and everything else. And, you know, the phone's ringing, nobody's answering it, but I'm paying money for these phones to ring. And, you know,
Right.
you guys, you know, that whole nonsense of it. Right. But then going back to, well, coaching. So luckily enough, I was able to hire like my right hand, Josh. He's been with me now going on 6 years. He's pretty much been with me since the day I became a real estate agent. And then we have another guy named Jimenez. He's an amazing real estate agent. You know, he really came to me, didn't really know too much about the business, just had a vision and got into it, and we coached him to it. And then we got EJ, you know, he's another guy, right? And then we've had people come and go. You know, I always say that like I like when people graduate the team. That means that I was successful, right? I taught them the business, they learned it, you know, they got to where they are, and they got to a point where they said, hey, Jeff, thank you for getting me here. Now I can go and do it on my own, right? So it's kind of that sense of accomplishment where some team leads get upset when they leave. I'm happy to promote and graduate them out of the team and become individual agents.
Especially
So then kind of just took off running. My wife, you know, my wife was with me, and she was my back end support. About 2 years ago, I retired her from her bank job. She became full-time on, took care of, you know, running the admin department, running the sales,
Nice.
running the ISA department, and staying in touch with, like, you know, follow up with all of our back end on our deals. Gave me a lot more time to do what I was good at, which was getting in front of customers. Then here we are. You know, here we are today. Kind of just blew up. It just kind of like
It's crazy how that happens, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
kind of happens.
especially with EXP, because they have so many tools, right? I mean, it's never ending. We were just, you know, I don't know if you were in Vegas, you know, a couple of months ago.
COVID kept me home.
Oh, gotcha. That's
Yeah,
right.
COVID kept me home.
Definitely. You start talking to everybody, and it's so different than, say, the big box, you know, I call them, you know, the box realtors, where they like to keep a lot of things to themselves, you know, and whereas EXP has all these tools, and it's like, no, I need you to succeed, right?
Yeah.
My future is predicated on, you know, on rev share, and I
100%.
need you to succeed. So it's perfect for a guy like you who likes to coach, likes to get his hands dirty, you know, and get in there and in the trenches with your other realtors and really build them,
Correct.
right? Because at the end of the day, when you're building them up, you're fortifying yourself, you and your wife, you know.
100%.
So what's it like today? I mean, that's how you started. It's a great story. I love it. Tell me about, like, what does today look like? Is it you and your wife, or do you have you brought more folks up recently, or how does that look? And how are you attracting agents?
So realistically, like, I'm gonna be honest, quite frankly with you, I am not your guy that's going to pick up the phone and call 15 agents to try and get them to come
Right.
to EXP. So what I'll do a lot of times is, right now it's myself, my wife, and 3 other agents on the team. We have back end admin support, you know, ISAs and all that stuff. So we're lean and mean team, but pretty much in my marketplace, EXP still has that stigma, right? You know, like it's you know, there's no office, you know, and trying to overcome that hurdle has been challenging, but, you know, we've been able to bring people in that, you know, more experienced real estate agents that value the ability to run their own business within a business and not have that so-called broker breathing down your back about coming to the office and, you know, we got to do this meeting, I need you to train. That was my biggest reason for leaving, you know, Exit. I was with Exit for 7 years before I decided to leave. And it was, EXP was presented to me, and I was like, you're out of your mind. I bleed teal. And then I had helped, I left one broker, I left one Exit branch to go and help another broker open up his branch. I noticed that I'm sitting there running his office, training his staff, I'm training his people. If I'm in the office, I got my door closed. You know, I had the corner office with, you know, but if I closed my door, I had knock, 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 and I could never get any work done. So I kind of stopped going to the office, and it was frustrating, because the office was also considerable amount of distance from my target area. So it made no sense for me to leave my house to go to the office, to work from the office, to drive another hour back to my market area where I sell a lot of my homes. And I decided that, exit's no more for me. Somebody had presented the EXP model. I said, this is amazing. I brought it back to the team. Team loved it. I said, look, we can do this. That one of my mentors, Vincent Koo, he had left and he had said, Jeff, you should really take a look at this. And I ended up going and speaking at an event with Veronica Figueroa, Carlos German, and some of the really, really
she's
big.
She's right down the road from us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
some of the really.
Mark Rawmaker, he's right down the road. Yeah, you probably know Mark.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you listen to these people speak, and I mean to interject in what you were saying, but as soon as you say Veronica's name, like everybody knows her, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, she's number one for now because
that's right.
Avery Carl's right behind her.
Yeah.
And we work with Avery Carl on a daily basis. So I'll tell you more about that later. But it's nice to see these folks. And like, I know Avery better than I know Veronica, but just to hear these stories like yourself, like, 3 years ago, I was traveling around, trying to figure out life and this and that. Oh, now I do 1.2 billion with a B in business. And I travel around now, but it's in a jet and I stay in a 5-star resort. I love those stories, right? It's stories like yours, like, it's like you went from doing something that you did generally enjoy, but it was tearing you up. So now, you're the owner of your own business,
and now I get to drive around in Lamborghinis, go on rallies,
going, hey,
live the life.
I think I'll buy a $10 million building right now. And it's like, what happened? Everybody wants to know. That's why the story is so exciting, more than, hey, what properties are you buying this month? Or, how many listings did you get this month, Jeffrey? Who cares?
That's irrelevant to me.
It's totally irrelevant. Right. I love it. So
to me,
what's the future look like?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. What's the future look like?
The future looks like is realistically overcoming the new challenges in the current marketplace, right? So, I say, like, everybody's like, oh, it's new challenges, it's a new challenge, but realistically, if I'm a look back kind of guy. Mm-hmm. So if I say that you cannot really count 2020 to 2022 as real business.
It was a mirage, right?
Right. It was smoke and mirrors, right? Yeah. It was a market that we're never going to see again. I honestly believe that market is gone. So everything we based, like when we sat down, in December and did our business planning and everything like that, we went back to, 2019, 2018, 2019 kind of marketplace. And we really looked into what did we do effectively then, right? So back then it was probably, all right, SOI was huge. Sphere of influence building, top 50 management, going through all of the motions, right? Going through all of, cultivating business in leads that were built off of relationships, right?
Right.
So again, what we did, we built our plan around as, all right, well, these tons of lead gens, right? Anybody can pay for leads and get leads, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But I can tell you this, if if you refer me to someone, that lead is more likely to work with me than me clicking a button on and them working with me, right? So we really hyper focused on to building all of our team, again, reinforcing guys, top 50, sphere of influence, get involved, go knock on the doors, go visit, drop off, Popeyes, all back into that grind mode, right? Because let's face it, Tim, realistically, in 2021 and 2022, everybody was a real estate agent, everybody was a loan officer. You shook the tree and 5 buyers fell out, a listing fell out. It was easy. And most real estate agents
didn't have to show your home,
Yeah, I remember sitting on my couch and selling houses, not even getting out of my sweatpants, in the beginning parts of COVID, and laughing. But, so realistically, everybody needed to build up a robust pipeline, right? So this year's goal is pipeline management, getting the team back on board with, making sure they're staying consistently following up, using, basic Ford scripts, and all that great stuff, and just, following up with their past clients, the sphere of influence, and going there. I mean, The goal, obviously, we set a goal is we want to bring in another 25 agents into the company, build into the downline. Obviously, is our big thing is we want to bring in those companies.
Right.
We want to continue to build, revenue. We set our goal this year we wanted to see, GCI of 1 million or better. And, it takes those I have a 60-point daily success habits that we have to do, and each one of those points, it just is to keep you productive, right? To get people off the couch, back in control of their business, and really staying in tune with what needs to be done in order to effectively get to your goals, right? I ask my team every beginning of the year, what do you want in the next 6 months? What do you want in the next year? What do you want in the next 5 years? Now build your plan towards that. What is it going to take? What's the number value? How many closes does that equate to? Get really, really granular with them. And then, after we do our plan, all right, now envision it, do your vision board, right? And some people are like, oh, are you crazy? That doesn't work. Let me tell you, I've done vision boards since I've gotten to this business, and almost every year, with the except of having a child, it has come true on my vision boards, but then this year, guess what? If I checked all boxes on my vision board, right? I got the Lamborghini, I got the baby on the way, I got the house completely renovated, it was all good things. So this year, our major goal is to bring in more people into our organization, kind of bring in more people, not just anybody. That's the key. And that's part of my problem. Right. Is like, I don't want to just recruit anyone. I want top talent. I want people. Like, they're getting ready to open up a branch in the Hamptons soon, which is going to be a huge change for us because it's all about brand awareness out there. You got to be local. So now we'll be able to have that local footprint in the neighborhood, and we can get it out there and really kind of captivate that luxury market and kind of transition from our, we're still always like, my bread and butter has always been first-time home buyers. You know what first-time buyers turn into? They turn into first-time sellers within 3 to 6 years, so realistically it's setting up your future, right? So I don't think I'll ever lose that passion for first-time home buyers. Plus, it also plays into the coaching, the education, and the guiding of a first-time home buyer and helping them transition into that process, as well with our listing business. But our primary goal is to kind of shift also to have the team kind of managing that and keep managing that. And then for me to start to branch off into this luxury market and start going, and rolling around in that marketplace and discovering what that entails.
That sounds like a great plan, man. All the best in that endeavor. And it sounds like everything that you've overcome and shifted into has been the right move. I don't see anything changing. How would somebody get in touch with you, Jeffrey?
Easy. You can get me on Facebook. Check us up there. We're available on Facebook, TikTok. Our website is longislandrealestatepros.com. You can search, see, fill out whatever you need. Or you just pick up the phone and call my cell phone, which is easy. 631-953-7864. You want to talk? I'm an old school guy.
You're the man.
Get on the phone and have a phone conversation. Text is secondary to me, but anytime you want to talk, I'm always here. Love to kind of help anyone out.
That's awesome. Hey, I said at the beginning, we were talking, I said, you're like the hit record, and I'm the DJ spinning it, right?
Yeah.
So, take us out with whatever on your mind, your heart, your soul, whatever's important to you. It could be about business, be about your family, it could be about your dog, whatever you feel like our listener needs to hear. And then, we'll take that out on the show, and then hang with me for a minute or two at the end.
If you're in real estate right now and you're a realtor that's looking to expand and grow your business and get there, it doesn't always come down to just making phone calls and talking and doing business. A lot of it comes into what you feed into the information, which you feed into yourself, right? What you tell yourself. Now, I'm not talking about listening to Grant Cardone or Tony Robbins or all that. I'm talking about like what you tell yourself every day. What you wake up, you look at yourself in the mirror, what affirmations you're saying, right? I'm a big affirmation guy. Believe in the universe, the way the universe works, attract things to you, put it out there, and it'll come back. My wife and I have both been blessed with that and that ability to really master that I guess you want to call it the secret, the law of attraction, right?
Law of attraction, sure.
Yeah, realistically, like every day I wake up, I'm up, I'm doing my affirmations, I'm hitting the treadmill, doing a light workout, because I can't do crazy stuff, but doing a light workout, and I'm really giving myself that personal care. Especially this year, that personal care in the sense of working on my mind before I work on other people's problems. It's the airplane theory, right? You got to put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you can go out and help other people.
Help other people,
So,
sure.
so like really focus on yourself too. And then after you take that hour, 2 hours of your own time to really perfect your mind and get your mindset on track. So this way you can deal with all the new objections of 2023 and overcome it all.
All new ones, yeah.
Yeah, and overcome it all. But that's really it. Really stay firm to those affirmations are key. We use an app called Prompter. It's phenomenal. It gives you daily, it gives you affirmations. You do 21 of them a month and you get new affirmations. And then we also, we use our business plan to create our own, yearly affirmations. And what I found is that also will help you stay on track to your plan, because every day you're writing down your actual goals in your business plan in the form of affirmation, which is really cool too.
Yeah, it makes it almost tangible, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Good sage advice there, Jeffrey. I really appreciate that. Jeffrey Jimenez, eXp Realty, Shirley, New York. Thank you so much for being on the program. I look forward to catching up with you over the next 3, 6, 9 months. See where you're at. I imagine it's going to be far, far away places. You're doing great, man.
I got a big so my first year in eXp, I actually hit Icon twice.
Yeah, that's nice, man.
Hey, so
now
I
you
got
want to get everybody else in that downline. You want to get everybody on that icon status, so we can all go to Hawaii. We're all going to go to Hawaii on the next one, right?
That's right, baby. Let's go.
Awesome, dude. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Tim.